So guys, I've currently decided to take a trip to Eastern Europe. I'm not going to tell you exactly where yet. I might tell you that in the future, but it's been a really eye-opening experience for me. And I've seen a lot of really interesting stuff. I've got a lot to compare, and I've actually not used this, I guess, holiday to film any videos. The last video I think properly that I uploaded was a video that I did in Rotherham. That was the last video that I was outside for. And I thought I'd like to film another one. I want to show you a little bit about where I am. If you can guess where it is, that's fine, that's good. If not, I'll tell you in the future. I want to show you though, the situation here compared to the UK. And by the way, I am actually aware that this is not a apples to apples comparison, you know. We're in a very large city here, so it's not going to be like a small town in England. But how does it stack up compared to a big city in England? I feel like when people make videos when they travel and they want to show a place in a better light or a worse light, they pick an according area. I don't like to do that myself. I want to show you the true situation. So I've spent all of my time travelling in and out of the city centre, experiencing different areas and trying to get a full gauge. And I've seen some rough areas, or some rougher areas, some areas which are not maintained as well as the city centre. But the city centre itself, you've got a bit of graffiti, but it's very beautiful. And again, yes, this is a big city. If you went to London or Manchester, it's not that bad. But there are still things here, I think, that are different, not necessarily better or worse, but different. And we are allowed to look at them. So we've got a very beautiful building up here, and you know guys, I'm a big fan of architecture. You've got some nice stuff here. And I feel like the style of the buildings is probably the thing that stood out to me the most. You know, I've not really seen many ugly buildings here. Not many at all. Everything has been thought out and designed, I think, with a look in mind. It's all very congruent. It's all very nice. And of course you do have that in some cities in the UK. You've got some sort of Victorian towns or old school towns, that's true. But I don't think it's as common. Or I should say, I don't think it's as common to this extent. You know, you've got some amazing stuff here, architecture-wise, I think. And I think that, to me, is something that's kind of new to this degree. Everything also seems to work very well. You've got buses, which seem to be very, very frequent. Very clean streets. Very well maintained, generally, everything, in the city at least. And as I say, there seems to be a general, I guess, orderliness. Seems being the word, but it feels that way to, I think, everything. Yeah, it feels really tidy, really neat. The buildings are just gorgeous. And of course you will get that in most of the big cities in the UK to some degree, but not really like this, you know. This has been a really eye-opening experience to me, because travel is always going to open your eyes. But I think what it is specifically is, this is travelling somewhere so similar yet so different. And what I mean by that is, when you're in somewhere like, I don't know, somewhere halfway, I suppose, around the world, you would expect it to be completely different. Here there is a lot of similarities to the UK. There's a lot of differences, but a lot of similarities. And it shows you what things could be like. You know, everyone's been super friendly and polite. And again, I'm not saying that this is going to be the case for everybody. Of course, it might not be. But I'm telling you my experiences in the truth and honest form that they are in. And I feel like everywhere has probably got a big downside, right? So in the UK, we might talk about high taxes. We might talk about increasing crime and stuff like that. But there's a lot of benefits. You can get good money. You can have a lot of opportunities. That's still true. World-class healthcare, very good social provisions. Let's not lie, let's not tell lies like a lot of people like to when they talk about these topics. So I'm not going to dismiss the truths. I'm trying to think though, what's the catch of here? And I want to make one thing clear. When people go to a place for a very short period of time, they often get that sort of tourist buzz. They don't know how it feels to live there. I don't know how it feels to live here. I might be completely wrong, completely off. I don't know. What I'm just saying though is what I've seen. I'm not making a video saying how it feels to live in this place or that place. I'm just saying though, why do we increasingly not have this in the UK? Now, when we're talking about historical buildings, that's just a thing of the past in the sense that we can't go back and change it. There are some beautiful historic buildings in the UK too. But what I'm saying is, the sense of cleanliness, the sense, in the big cities, this is true because I live in one, of orderliness, where did that kind of go in UK society? It used to be there, I feel, a lot more. And that's not me trying to reminisce on a time that I wasn't living in. It's me looking at a 20-year span that I've been alive. Now, obviously, I've seen so many videos now of the UK's in decline and this and that. I don't know if it is or isn't. I'm not going to say on a video. I'm not an economist or anything like that. What I can say, though, is it's an eye-opening experience, again, as to what things in theory could look like. I don't mean everything, because some things are better, some things are worse. But I mean, generally, there's a lot to be learned here. Anyway, I want to go back to my main point about what the catch is, and then I want to talk about what I've learned, because it's only a short video. I've taken a couple of days off filming. I've been travelling a lot of places, and this is just the first chance I've had to sit down. What am I saying? What could the catch be? So I feel like it must be in the jobs department. I don't know if you'd have the same opportunities for jobs or career progression. Probably you wouldn't, to be honest. There's not that many big companies from what I've seen out here. That's probably the catch. So you probably wouldn't make as much money. And I think if you made the average money, you probably would have a generally slightly worse experience. With that being said, I'm just learning more and more. And I've said this myself, and I want to kind of document it a little bit. I'm going to feel it rather than film it. However, you guys did like the travel videos, so we can do a bit of both. I wanted to talk about, or I wanted to see, or I do want to see, a few parts of the world before I make my mind up on kind of where I go next in terms of everything. I wanted to travel to Eastern Europe and travel around Eastern Europe. I wanted to travel to Africa. I wanted to travel to like Southeast Asia, and then make my mind up as to what I feel about everything there. Anyway, I'm not saying it would necessarily be ideal for everybody, or anybody even, to move to Eastern Europe. A lot of people from Eastern Europe move to the UK, actually. What I'm just saying though, because I know some people are going to get this message wrong or not understand it, this is a really interesting place. And I feel like generally Eastern Europe as a travel destination is pretty much overlooked by British tourists, at the very least for a holiday, right? Who do you know that ever goes to Eastern European countries on holiday? Not very often people do. Probably because it is so brutally cold, to be honest. Some of the temperatures on this trip have been less than ideal, so it's not very warm. And it's actually, there's snow on the ground now. But yeah, it's been a really eye-opening experience, this, and I feel like there's a lot that we can learn